Hey everybody, it's Miss Colanani, and I am going to try to make a really generic video so that I can use it for multiple years about 1 point perspective. So there may be some things that I intentionally leave out so that this can reach across multiple years, but this should be all the basic information for Art 1 for our perspective drawing. The supplies you'll need is your paper. This year we're using 6 by 12, so 6 inches tall and 12 inches wide. If we've changed our paper dimensions for whatever reason, that's okay. But this year this is what we're going for. Also, you need your wooden pencil, your big eraser, and a ruler. So if you need to pause and go grab any of those things, do that now and then come back to the video. Two things that we talked about are needing a workshop on form versus shape, and then also a workshop on how to do 1 point perspective drawing. So first we're going to set up our paper and talk about the necessary components for 1 point perspective drawing, and then we'll kind of segue into form versus shape. Sorry that you can see the stand of this is a locker shelf that I set the camera on, but you can just ignore those little black bars, okay? First thing you need to do is consider where you want your vanishing point to be on your paper. Remember, your vanishing point can be anywhere, and that's going to determine kind of the view or lens through which your viewer is looking. So if I'm wanting my vanishing point to be down here, then my viewer is going to be kind of looking at this angle, okay? Your horizon line, again, can be wherever you want it to be, but it has to intersect with your vanishing point, okay? So your vanishing point and your horizon line that I'm about to draw have to intersect one another. You want your horizon line to be as parallel to the edge of your paper as possible. You don't want it going at an angle like that, okay? One thing while you're drawing early on, draw as lightly as possible so that it's easy to erase later on, okay? So I've got my horizon line and my vanishing point, okay? So if you're kind of struggling to see it visually, think of this as where the sky and the earth meet. So this would be my floor or my ground down here, and this would be my sky up here, okay? Or if you're doing a room, maybe this is a wall and this is the floor. It all depends on what type of scene that you're setting up for your viewer, okay? Horizon line and vanishing point, check. Again, draw lightly, erase, erase, erase. Okay, flip your paper over if you just really think you messed up beyond repair, but try to conserve materials, okay? When we are drawing certain objects, remember that your vertical lines are always going to go up and down. Okay, for this next little part that I pieced together, I wanted to switch up my viewpoint just so, in case you were doing exactly what I was doing, maybe I threw you for a little bit of a loop, okay? Because I really want you to understand the concept rather than just monkey see, monkey do. So picking up kind of where we left off, vanishing point and horizon line. I am really sorry if it's hard to see on the screen, but again, I'm drawing lightly so that I'm able to erase. in my world that I'm drawing, I wanted there to be some type of, maybe it'll be a road, maybe it'll be a river, but I wanted it to converge back off into the distance. So I got my ruler and drew each of these lines, okay, going back to my vanishing point on this side as well as this side, okay? And then I started to draw a building. So this is where we're going to talk about form versus shape, okay? You're going to start out by drawing your shapes first. Shapes, I'm writing this up here, but you certainly don't have to, are two-dimensional. Forms are three-dimensional, okay? You're gonna start off drawing your objects with the two-dimensional shape. So for example, maybe I have another building on this side. Okay, this is one side of my building. Right now, this is just a two-dimensional shape. I'm even going to give it a square top. This is the one time where you get to break the rule that all horizontal lines must converge back to your vanishing point. When you are drawing your initial shapes, they don't have to, because this is like the foundation for your three-dimensional form, okay? Whenever you start to create the face of the building, for example, this is the side, kind of like this is the side of the building. Whenever you go to create the face of the building, let's say this is a really long building. Okay, you're gonna draw your vertical, and this time the roof line will converge back to your vanishing point, and you stop at the wall. Okay, so you're gonna have to do a lot of erasing because you're gonna be drawing lines that you're not gonna know how tall exactly maybe your roof line will be. And then also you'll need to erase your horizon line inside the objects that are solid. Okay, so that's a really long building. That depth of illusion, we see it as going really far into the distance to where this side is very short because of how close it is to our vanishing point, okay? If I'm drawing something like windows, those also have to follow my rules of perspective. And what I think is the easiest way is to draw your verticals. Again, you're trying to stay as parallel with the edge of your paper as possible. Okay, drawing your verticals, however wide you want these windows to be, but then the top and the bottom of all of your windows have to go back to the vanishing point. So if I'm gonna have two sets of windows over here, I can start with my tops, and then however long I want them to be, I'll cut them off. And then let's say this is the bottom of my second window, and the top of my second window. Okay, I've got these little spaces in here that, to me, I just want that to be building. So I've got to clean it up a little bit. And voila, I have 4 windows that look realistic in terms of the illusion of depth. In hindsight, I might move these two over to the left a little bit. They seem really far from this set of windows. But the beauty of what we're doing with this assignment, the fact that it's an unrealistic scene, it doesn't have to be architecturally perfect, because a lot of this is going to be made up from your brains, okay? Let me see, did I cover everything? Last thing that we're going to talk about, some of you want to include objects that are a little more complicated than just verticals and horizontals. For example, if somebody was doing a world of volleyballs in space, I don't know. Remember, these are totally coming out of your brain. I like volleyball. I actually used to be a volleyball coach 2 years ago at Heritage. I was an assistant volleyball coach. So let's say I'm drawing volleyballs as part of my fantasy world. My 11-year-old self is very happy that I still remember how to draw a volleyball. Okay? This is my two-dimensional shape. I do not have to try to draw this where it looks like it's going back to the vanishing point while it's just a shape. What I do want y'all to do to show me proficiency or mastery of perspective is to make it look as if these objects, whether it's a volleyball or a hand holding up the peace sign, whatever, I want you to make it look three-dimensional and like it's popping out, almost kind of like the Batman signal or something. Okay, it's like popping out into the sky. Notice I did not draw my lines through the building. Again, that illusion of depth, it looks like this building is in front of the volleyball. But my shadow, or my three-dimensional piece, continues behind the building. I'm just kind of shading to help give understanding to what I'm talking about. You can have that shadow or three-dimensional, can't get my ruler, three-dimensional piece be split, and perhaps this bottom part is in shadow more so than the top part. But that's kind of a simple way that we can take these two-dimensional shapes that don't really have perspective qualities and turn them into three-dimensional forms, so that I can assess you on whether you understand that difference between 2D and 3D. Okay? Remember that at least for this year, sorry, my paper's sideways. At least for this year, all you're required to have is Sharpie. So going over your lines with Sharpie. I would definitely recommend you wait and do that when your entire drawing is complete, because you may want to change some things. Also, these lines that I was, erasing, you could wait go over your real lines with Sharpie and then erase, you know, with your big eraser at the end. That would probably be a little bit quicker than trying to erase all these little tiny things, as long as you understand what you need to ink. If you do want to add color to it, make sure that your drawing is complete first with Sharpie, so that way you've at least met the project requirements before you take time to color. So pencil first, get everything done, and then start Sharpie. We are working on this for 4 days. If everyone's working hard and we need to extend the deadline, I'm happy to do that, but that means everyone's utilizing class time wisely. Rewatch this video if you need to. Pause it, speed it up, slow it down, whatever you need to do to be successful in your perspective drawing. If you get stuck, ask someone for help or let me know and I will help you. Can't wait to see what you guys come up with.